Good morning. It's time for the Saturday Challenge Live, where we play Match Solitaire. I need to come up with something new, but all I've got is to the death. I really need to come. Okay, next time we'll come up with something new. All right, I'm David. I made this game. My screen is on the left.
I'm Allison. My screen is in the middle.
And I'm Caitlin. My screen is on the right.
Yeah, all right. So we've got a little warning from Quell in the Discord chat that the first two games today are difficult. So this might be a long stream, so maybe we should just get into it. What do you think?
Okay.
Okay.
I could talk a little bit about the... Okay. One
well,
short
we got to
thing.
show off our ranks. Let's do that.
Okay, yes. You two both... Well, I unlocked a new character. I unlocked Elvin. He's named after Elvis for obvious reasons, but he's a dolphin, so he's Elvin. Yeah. And you two have both unlocked Nessie, I see. Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a real accomplishment. Oh, and my rank is 32. And you two are 6 and 7. Look at that. So 74 away. You're only 74 games apart.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I'm actually kind of surprised because every time I see Allison playing, she's playing dots now. So
That's because I'm not supposed to play during the team events because it's not fair.
Oh.
Blah, blah, blah.
Whatever. Yeah, that's okay. So the team event. Yeah, there was a team event this week, and it went on way too long, I think, because Team Green just ran away with it. I recruited so many yellow players. We had either 7 or 8 players. I recruited my family, my friends, like everybody I could sign up.
He stole some of my friends.
I stole Allison's friends. Yeah, I told Cassie, come play for Team Yellow, and I didn't tell her until after she joined. Couldn't switch that Allison was on Team Green. She was not happy. But despite all of that, we got off to a reasonable, we were sort of holding.
Yeah, it was close for the first day.
Yeah, for the first day, we were kind of holding steady. And then, I don't know what happened, but Team Green just started scoring thousands of...
I know what happened.
What?
That's all you did the first day. You didn't code, you didn't work, you didn't look up from your phone. You couldn't maintain the pace.
That's true. But I wasn't all of Team Yellow. I mean, Team Yellow wasn't just me. So
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
you're probably the most invested.
That's true. Probably my teammates.
Not that that's a bad thing, but
yeah.
But it's probably why.
I texted my mom and sister a few times, like, come on, are you guys playing?
Oh.
We're
Nothing
losing.
Encourages team spirit like that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like nagging.
Yeah, so by day 3, it was over. I think Team Green had something like closing in on 8,000 points. And Team Yellow was like half that. So, and Team Red was just, Team Red still only had one.
They were definitely
player. Yeah.
At a disadvantage. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So we'll have a new event coming up, a new team event coming up this Monday. And I'm making a few changes. One, clearly it needs to be shorter because once there's a runaway winner, it's no fun anymore.
Yeah.
So I'll cut it down.
Maybe rather than setting a time limit, you could set a target, like the first team to reach X number of points. I don't know what that number would be, and then it ends at that point. Maybe that's a better way to do it.
Yeah, that is one possibility. Also, I could actually detect the case when there's a runaway winner and the conclusion is obvious. That might be another way to end it. But then I wouldn't be able to have a countdown, to tell you how much time you have left in the event and stuff like that. So I actually did think about that, but I kind of like that countdown that everyone knows, okay, I've got 3 days.
Yeah.
And I can figure out when I'm going to play for my team. And I don't know, but you're right. Those are definitely other options. I'll have to consider that. But for this next event, I don't think I have time to make any more huge changes. So
Yeah, no, probably not.
I'm thinking 3 days. We'll
Okay.
see how that goes. And then I've also implemented actually just this morning, a handicapping algorithm. I was asking, is that like a term that I shouldn't be using these days? I don't know. I looked it up and tried to find like if there was a more PC term for, multiplying someone's score. What's that?
Golf definitely still uses the term handicap.
Yeah. So maybe it's okay.
I guess if you, I don't know, qualify it, score handicap or something, maybe there's a.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try to.
But yeah, I don't know. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, I'm just kind of afraid of that word a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I guess you could just call it an equalizer or a modifier, a score modifier.
Multiplier, something like that.
Multiplier. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever we're calling it, I have something, and it should. I'm actually very happy to have really unbalanced teams for the beta test, so that I can test out some of these algorithms to see if I can possibly create a fun event even with teams this unbalanced. So we'll see. The algorithm I'm experimenting with is basically. I'm sorry, I'm going to make this. Allison is nodding off. Okay, it's going to be 2 sentences, and that's it. I take a guess at what the final score will be by extrapolating some stuff, and then I create a multiplier for your future scores that should result in a tie game if you continue playing at the pace you're going. That's roughly. It's a little more complicated than that, but I won't.
That's good enough.
Yeah. So anyway, the bottom line is hopefully every team will have a chance to win this time. So we'll see. Okay, that's way more than I expected. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
Right, Caitlin, take it away.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
What? Why didn't mine start? It took like 3 taps.
Uh-oh.
It's a poor craftsman who blames his tools.
Okay, so this is starting off like it's going to be really easy, but
yeah,
we've been
I don't
warned
think that's going to last.
that it's not. So
Wait. Nope.
we're all focused.
Oh, so silent. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I think if it's a hard one, people are probably going to be watching this for the solutions, not for our
banter.
Yes. Oh no, not that. Who's fit? Are you finished?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh my gosh.
67 moves.
Okay. So what did we decide? I know my vote was to end this thing when the first person wins, but I think
you were outvoted.
I was outvoted. Okay. Okay, I gotta back up a little bit because.
All right, I'm seeing the second one is hard now.
Okay.
I'm done with the first one.
Oh my gosh.
Nice play!
Okay.
I was 55 moves.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. Allison, I noticed that you have a lot of perfect games. That was impressive.
Thank you very much. I don't know how I get them.
Okay, I'm still stuck. Oh my gosh.
I'm getting the
All right.
strong feeling that Puzzle 2 is not a puzzle type that plays to my strengths as a player. That feels very apparent right now.
Well, I'm having to back way further up than I wanted.
Backing it up, backing it up. Who's getting those matches?
That's me.
Ooh.
I don't know what I did, but I got it.
Awesome.
With barely any backing up. I don't think it was perfect, but it was, wow, 39 moves.
All right.
So start over. Maybe you just need to start over, Allison, because it's apparently
All right.
apparently if you just get it right on the first try, it works. I don't know, because I don't feel like I was very stacky. I was pretty, I'm typically an eager matcher, and I did that.
All right.
And I was like, I'm just going to keep doing it this way until it doesn't work anymore, and it never stopped working.
All right.
Oh,
Trying it like that.
I'm still on 1. I don't know why I even play these anymore.
Done.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
Gnarly.
Caitlin,
3 is very easy.
today.
Wow.
3 is very easy.
Oh, I'm so stuck on 1.
Oh, I see what you mean, Caitlin. Okay. I overthought it.
Yep.
That was my problem.
Cool beans.
39 moves.
Yeah, I think mine was about the same.
All right. Well, when you finish, Allison, I am not. It's over. Just telling you now. I'm not going to torture everyone. I'm still on 1. Oh my goodness.
Somehow it was, I don't know, Allison, once you got number 1, I was like, oh, well, Allison got it, without too much angst. So maybe it's not as hard as I thought. I don't know. And somehow that gave me the confidence to do it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Yeah.
yeah. I swear I must have just lucked into the solution on the second one. I don't know what I did. Oh, come on, David. You've got a match. I can see. Well, okay. I realize I'm a few seconds behind watching the stream, but I'm like, did you get the 5s yet? I mean,
Yeah,
those 5s were right there. You could have gotten them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I might have done it inefficiently, but I finally did finish daily 1. Okay.
Okay. I'm just on a time.
This is not a
delay
double
here.
skunk.
I don't know why I'm now having problems with this.
Oh, good. Maybe I can
Maybe you can
get
catch up.
lucky
I'm
and
not
get into this.
doing well here. Okay, I have to restart puzzle 3.
Oh, I just started a new level, and I got the Nessie background, so everyone can see the pretty
Ooh.
Nessie background.
All right. Yeah. Oh, I do have some. I do have. I can't play and talk. I have new voiceovers from Carl White, who is the voice of Carl the reindeer, but he is also now going to be the voice of Mac the lion. So as soon as I get those in, we'll have some voices for Mac the lion. I'm excited about that. Oh, you did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Case closed.
I feel like I'm going to give myself a couple more seconds to finish this one because I think okay. I was just behind on daily 2, but yeah, that was a skunk.
So, Caitlin, what do you think we should do with the scoring since you won?
Oh, I think you just don't count me. I think you just keep going, the 2 of you.
Are you sure?
Well, so that does kind of bring up something I was thinking about after last time. I mean, Allison, you're so far ahead
Yeah.
between the two of you
Yeah.
that
Is it time to start over?
either, I wonder, should you set a date when it starts over? We could, I'm a little hesitant to say, well, let's start keeping a 3-way score because I'm not going to be on every Saturday.
Okay.
Probably, so I don't know how you want to do that. I guess we could think about it, but.
Okay. All right. So we'll have to have some like tertiary category of Caitlin wins. I don't think that we will have, and I don't know who David's got on the roster. I'm not sure that we have other guests that are as likely to beat us as you are.
No, there's no one else.
I don't think we need like a Saturday
Cassie.
guest category.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this would be a little more complicated, but I could figure, I mean, all the streams are on YouTube, so I just have to go back and figure it out. But I guess we could count, you could have one, so the Saturdays when it's just the two of you, or it's the two of you and a non-me guest.
Yeah.
You could just count it as one series, and then we could have a separate 3-person series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd have to go back and look up the other Saturdays that I've been around and retabulate it all. But I mean, that's one way to do it.
That seems like a lot of work.
Well, I mean, it would be a lot of work one time, and then it would not be that bad. But
Yeah.
I just like the idea that you were skunked again today, David.
I know you enjoy that.
I do.
Glad I can bring some joy to your Saturday mornings.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I have a real missed opportunity that I've never made any of my fun facts on Saturdays about skunks.
All right. Well, I think it's time for the fun facts.
The only skunk I know anything about is Flower from Bambi. I don't know any other skunks. Oh, Pepe Le Pew.
Come on.
That's not the first place. My brain went straight to Flower from Bambi.
I don't know Flower from Bambi, but I do know Pepe Le Pew.
Well, I don't advocate that you watch Bambi enough to learn their names because it's traumatic, but I do remember Flower.
The only other one I can remember isn't the rabbit Thumper.
The rabbit is Thumper, yep.
Yeah. Okay. See, I don't think I would have remembered the skunk though. When I was a little kid, my family and I we'd rent movies every Friday or Saturday or whatever. And so my parents would get one movie for them, and then I would get one for me. And for some reason, I went through a period where every week I wanted Bambi. And I look back at that now, and I'm like, what was wrong with me?
Yeah,
that I wanted Bambi of all movies. And why didn't we just buy a copy at that point? I don't know. Because I had plenty of other Disney movies. I mean, I had The Little Mermaid, and I had Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and Snow White, and all the classic ones, right? So why they didn't just buy me a copy of Bambi? Maybe it wasn't available, because I know Disney does that thing where you can get certain things at certain times. Yeah. And this was before Amazon or eBay were existing. So
you had to keep your local Blockbuster in business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Once you stopped, it was over.
Although I'm pretty confident that I mean, I've seen Bambi many times. I'm pretty sure my parents only let me see the first 10 minutes of Bambi once. I don't believe it was ever rewound to the beginning after that.
Huh. Yeah, I wonder if I just wasn't really internalizing what was happening. I just think I liked the animals.
Yeah.
Probably, because I definitely don't remember. Obviously, I wasn't traumatized by it because I kept wanting to watch it. So maybe we did skip the beginning. I don't know. It's been a very long time since I've seen the movie.
Yeah. I don't remember being traumatized by it, but I don't know how many times I've seen it. Probably not. I'd never saw it multiple times on repeat. Probably didn't see it until I was older.
Oh, that makes a difference. I watched a Disney movie essentially every Saturday of my childhood I would come home from dance class on Saturday mornings, and then I could watch it. Then I could watch a movie, and always a Disney movie.
Well, if I told you all about my childhood television experience, I'd probably get laughed off of this show. But
Wasn't it the A-Team and only the A-Team?
Yeah, so, okay. So we had this old black and white tiny TV and this giant antenna that was sticking out of the top of the house, and I had to I remember reaching out the window and trying to twist the pole that it was on to try to get the station in, and we only watched TV once a week, and yes, it was the A-Team on that little black and white TV, because my parents didn't really want us watching TV. That's how I grew up. Yeah. Made one exception for the A-Team.
Yeah. I used to go for a long time to this trivia night, and David was never that much of a fan of going, and he was like, "You don't really need me," or I don't really like it. And one time he didn't come, and you better believe one of the categories was TV theme songs, and the A-Team was one of them. I was like, "Come on, man! We really could have used you for that."
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, my knowledge of trivia, pop culture, yeah, I'm useless, absolutely useless.
But sometimes they have math categories and tech categories, and
yeah, occasionally I can.
I remember there was a unit conversions category.
Yeah, I could do a few of those, but yeah, most of the time I just sit there and I don't know. All right, so speaking of trivia,
okay.
How about a
have
fun
you given
fact?
up, David?
What's
or
that?
Are you still going while we?
No, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm stuck on the third one of all things, which is supposed to be the easy one. So yeah, I'll restart it.
Well, I was having trouble with a fun fact this week, I'll be honest, because it just wasn't a fun week. It was a rough week. I'm tired. It wasn't a great week. So rather than kind of leaning into the sadness, I kind of tried to go in a different direction. So one of the things that I was like, oh, are you serious? Come on. Is that this week, or I think it's today, is the last day where New York City's sunset is after 7 p.m. So things are getting a bit darker here. And I was like, well, that's, hard. But at the same time, it does mean it's fall is starting in earnest. And one of the fall activities that I haven't done in a couple of years is to go apple picking, because, in the past it's been get on the train, get a lift, get on a train to get on a bus to go to an orchard. But after our good experience with successfully navigating in a car outside of the city, I feel like apple picking is probably more of a possibility this fall than it's been previously. So I was looking up fun apple facts. And
Okay, that was a long path.
That was a very long setup. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Right,
Sounded like one of my stories.
Maybe you guys don't deserve fun apple facts. That's fine.
Okay, bring it. We've held in there with you all this time. So
I have two facts. One is that there are 7,500 different varieties of apples, but only 2,500 in the United States. My personal favorite is the Honeycrisp.
Oh, the Honeycrisp is a good one.
Well, to me, it's the best apple. It's not necessarily the best baking apple, but I think it's the best directly eating apple.
Yeah.
And then
I'll agree with that.
Where I grew up, we had a local orchard called Johnny Appleseeds, where we always used
original.
But yeah. I just, if you don't know, Johnny Appleseed was a real person. His name was John Chapman, and he did go from state to state assisting in the development of orchards. So
I heard some facts about, well, I don't know if they're facts, some rumors about Johnny Appleseed that he wasn't all, his Appleseed planting wasn't all altruistic.
Okay.
You didn't come across that?
I said it was a long week.
Okay.
I said I had trouble
all right.
focusing.
No, okay, you're right.
But no, go ahead and
Johnny
slander this
Appleseed-
man's reputation
Johnny
without
Appleseed
having
was
the
awesome.
facts.
No, he was great. By the way,
I'm sure my fun fact next week will be he was a terrible man and he promoted like agricultural monoculture that's led to devastating effects for farmers for generations. He was probably some type of like weird person that wasn't nice to bunnies. I don't know. I'll find out for next week.
Okay.
No, he was
All right.
good.
So where I thought maybe you were going to go, sorry, when you started talking about sunset was, and I don't know enough of the details of this to like actually use it as my fun fact, but isn't there something in New York about when the sunlight,
Oh,
when
it's
the sun
Manhattan
sets?
Henge.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yes, I've
Can you explain about that?
Sure. So
Because
Manhattan.
I'm sure you know it better than I do.
So if you are familiar with the grid system of New York City, which developed in 1812, fun fact.
Wow.
Wow.
So-
right off the top of your head.
Avenues are the vertical axis. Streets are the horizontal axis. The vast majority, with the exception of Broadways, they go, straight up and down. Most avenues go both north and south for traffic, but most streets only go one direction. So even streets go east, odd streets go west. But there are some streets that go both east and west. So those are your big streets like 59th Street, 23rd Street, 14th Street. And on those streets...
Once again, I don't think all this was really necessary to explain. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, sorry.
We can go back to talking about how you're calculating
Go
scores
ahead. I
for
just
team
thought
events.
it was interesting that you're really... No, this is a really good education on the grid system.
And actually, this is going to tie into my fun fact. So keep going, Allison.
Perfect. Okay.
So essentially, you can have instances where the sunset lines up, perfectly with one of those cross streets. So you can essentially see the sunset go down the buildings and all the way down to the water through those kind of two-way streets.
Yes. And it's beautiful.
And it's beautiful.
It really is. It's really cool to get. My favorite view so far of Manhattan Henge has been from a street in Central Park I don't remember which street it was, but just looking out from Central Park all the way down to the Hudson, toward the Hudson. Why are you looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about?
Well, because if you go above Central Park, you only have half the view.
Not above Central Park, from Central Park.
No, but if you go above the southern border of Central Park, you only get like half the island view. You want to go all the way to...
Oh, well, look at that. So
Yeah.
I haven't done that. I guess I've only had half the Manhattan Henge view. All
And
right.
there are certain days of the year that you have to get it on the right day, right?
Yeah,
Isn't
I think there's only like 6 days a year where it's perfect, and they're usually like 2 days in a row in July.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
See if I can quickly.
I'm very curious
look
how
up
this
when
how this
next one is.
Connects with Caitlin's.
Okay, so so mine is about traffic. Is why I said it kind of related. So one of my weird fascinations is countries who switch or places who switch from driving on the right to driving on the left or vice versa.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
So shout out to an old episode of 99% Invisible that I listened to this week and was like, I got my fun fact. So most countries of the world drive on the right, like the US does, and the driver sits on the left. There are a number of countries who do the opposite. They drive on the left and the driver sits on the right in the car. So the UK is the most common example. And then there are a number of former British colonies that still do it that way. And Japan does it that way. And there are a few others. But there used to be more. It used to be actually fairly evenly split. And then over the course of the 20th century, basically, because that's kind of when cars became a thing and it was more important to standardize stuff, various countries would switch. So Sweden switched in the 70s, I think, or 60s or 70s, they went from driving on the left to driving on the right, because most of the rest of Europe does it on the right, and especially their neighbors, the neighboring countries, drive on the right. And so it reduces the odds that a tourist is going to come into the country and not be used to it and get in an accident, or vice versa. One of the residents is going to, leave the country and get in an accident because they're not used to doing it that way. So, and it just makes it easier for importing cars and all this stuff. So the majority of countries that have switched at some point have switched from the left to the right. And the one exception is the Pacific island nation of Samoa. They switched in 2009 and they went the opposite way. They were driving on the right and they went to driving on the left. And it's a little bit weird because they're an island. They don't have neighbors, or they don't have borders, right? So they don't have to deal with neighbors in the same way that like Sweden did. And so the reason that they switched is because they wanted to be able to import cheap used cars from Japan, where they drive on the left. And so they wanted to be able to access that market. And yeah, I mean, and I guess, Australia and New Zealand drive on the left. So kind of they're near-ish neighbors, although all those islands out in the Pacific are pretty far apart from each other.
Wow, that's fascinating.
But their trading partners, I guess, are mostly on the left. So, yeah.
Can I ask a question, Kaylin?
Yeah.
In what you read about it, does it talk about the transition plan? Like how long it takes, or is there like a day switchover? Do they go into that? I'd be so curious about it.
Yeah. So I don't know about Samoa, but for Sweden, so go back and so you can look up so there's a podcast called 99% Invisible, and episode 170 or something like that is called H Day. It's somewhere in the 170-ish range. So if you look it up, you can at least find it. It's one called H Day, and it's all about how Sweden did this process. And so obviously there's a long lead up where they do all this planning. And then what happened in the case of Sweden is they set a day that it was going to be, the switch was going to happen, and it's called H Day because in Sweden, the way you say left starts with an H, or the way you say right starts with an H. It's Swedish. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, so what happened was at 5:00 that morning, or like at midnight the night before, they were like, no non-essential traffic was allowed on the roads. And so there's only this very minimal traffic. And then at 5 a.m., or 4 a.m. or whatever, they played a siren, and that was the moment when everybody switched. And as far as in a practical sense, and in the lead up, they'd planned for freeways, the on ramps to become off ramps, and vice versa. And they changed all this where the signs were, and they had to reverse the direction of roundabouts, and there's all this stuff. So
I'm gonna check this out. This is so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is quite an operation to be able to. I mean, can't imagine.
The other thing that's interesting to look up is our borders where you do have to switch, and there's some really interesting bridge design where the lanes have to loop around each other in weird ways to get you to go from one side to the other. And so
wow,
that was going to be my other question, is what the border crossings look like before they change, because everything would be the wrong way.
Yeah, so I think fairly relatively less trafficked ones, usually it's just a stoplight.
Yeah. And
so, you follow where your lane tells you to go. And then things like where it's a highway and they, want to have less of a freer flow of traffic, I guess. You get these interesting loop-de-loops. So the one I was looking at this morning was Macau, which is a small sort of part of China. It's like a weird, complicated thing, kind of like Hong Kong.
Fun fact, Caitlin, our friend Cassie, who's been on the stream, used to live in Macau.
Oh really?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So they drive on the left, but mainland China drives on the right, and so there's this interesting looking bridge. I think it's called the Lotus Bridge that you can look up, and the way the loops go, it kind of looks like petals. So
cool.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, I'm sure we'll definitely have to look that up. Maybe I'll try to post a link to it too.
Next time you have Cassie on. Yeah, next time you have Cassie on, you can ask her about
Yeah.
The Lotus Bridge. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never thought about the much about the fact that car manufacturers, have to make their cars for differently depending on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I mean, I realized it, but I never really thought about the implications of all that, and like which cars are more expensive and which cars are cheaper. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Supply and demand, like I'd be very curious, like how many cars built for the right side of the road drivers versus left side of the road drivers, and yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, and of course in the U.S. it was Henry Ford who kind of standardized it, right? Because I think, the U.S. it was kind of different places were different things, or there wasn't a rule, especially when it was all horse-drawn carriages, right? And then when cars started becoming more prevalent, it was at least in the U.S. it was kind of scattered. Different places were different, and then Henry Ford came along and said, "I'm making the Model T. It's all going to be the driver's always going to be on the left." So then that forced everybody else to shape up and drive on the right. Yeah,
that makes sense. Next, it'll be the battle of the right-of-way lanes for hovercraft. That'd be cool. What are the rules in three-dimensional space for traffic? Wow, that's mind-boggling. Okay, well, those were some really fun facts today. Wow, awesome. So tomorrow, I will be on with a special guest, Carmen Nikkei, who is the voice of the tutorial and the first 10 characters in the game, except for 8. She's 8 of the 10 characters in the game. Sorry, there's 2 exceptions. One is Carl the reindeer, and the other is, can't forget, Fiona. The voice of Fiona being Allison here. So, other than that, she was the one who, we'll have more of the story tomorrow, but basically she's the reason there are voiceovers at all. So that story, and we'll see how much she lets me tell you all about her career as an actor and all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, she's an interesting person. Don't miss that tomorrow at 11 a.m. So that's all I have for today. Anyone else have anything you want to talk about?
You realize when you get someone to voice Nessie, they need to have a Scottish accent.
I don't know what I'm going to do about those characters. I'm not even sure they should have voices. What do you think? Or should they just make sounds? I don't know.
Well, I think if you're open to the younger versions making sounds, but I feel like the adults should have voices because it's just kind of weird otherwise.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to write this. I don't know what what sound does L'Oreal make? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Well, you could get kind of a horse, like a horse whinny.
Yeah. And so no.
What sound does Nessie
words
make? But yeah, so what I'm saying is the baby and the juvenile versions could just make a noise.
Right.
That's appropriate to the animal type, and then the adult could speak the way the other characters are speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
But what sound does Nessie make?
I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody's ever heard her.
I guess you could just have like a splashy water sound or something.
Maybe something from Jurassic Park. One of the Bronchiosaurus. No, Allison is saying no.
No.
Okay.
No.
It definitely needs to be a friendly noise.
Well, I thought they were friendly, like the plant eaters. When they're stuck up in a tree and they get surprised by one of them, and it's like friendly. It's munching leaves right next to them, and they're petting it. well, then it snots all over one of them. But, you know, it was friendly. It was nice.
I think we need to focus more on aquatic animal sounds.
Aquatic. Oh, okay. Underwater dolphin squeaks, whale sounds, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. All right. Well, that's it for today then. We'll see you all tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not really, I should have queued this all up, but all right, here we go with the outro and a fade today. So, how about that? Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.